and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
This is the greatest show!
And now, here's your host, Clint Arthur.
Hey, it's only fitting that we're going to wrap up this show with the top cybersecurity expert in the world. He is our expert on IT and having more and being more and doing more. Mr. Greg Hanna, thanks so much for being in studio with me here today at 77 WABC Radio.
I'm so happy to be here as a guest as opposed to a weekly contributor. Hey, Ariel. Great to see you. I'm going to tell you, instead of about cyber tech that we always talk about, Clint, I'm going to tell you how I fell in love with technology. And it all began with slide rules, paper tape readers, disk packs the size of washing machines, mainframe computers, and green bar paper. Oh my goodness, I have seen it all. My dad was an electrical engineer, and he worked for major aerospace defense companies like Raytheon, Litton, and Sperry Rand. He even had patents. Now, my dad morphed into a career in the very earliest days of the microcomputer industry when I was 6 years old. And I remember him taking me to a major electronics trade show right here in New York City. It was at this huge convention center. It was just the biggest thing I had ever seen in my life. And that trip was punctuated by a glorious stay at our cousins who lived in Newark, New Jersey. And they had a chair that converted into a bed. I mean, if you want to talk about blowing a kid's mind, if the trade show with millions of technology and computers wasn't enough, you know, that chair turning into a bed sure did it. And I was always fascinated by this stuff, especially when my dad would take me with him to his office. Now, I remember he built one of the very first microcomputers, and that thing used cassette tapes to record the data. And these cassettes were actually made out of metal, and the tape inside the cassette, well, Clint, the last time you saw a cassette tape, it was what, ABBA, the Doobie Brothers, right?
Barry Manilow.
Barry. You know, these tapes, this was a metal tape to record the data. And I remember he took me to install that thing in a client's office. And this was like state-of-the-art, cutting edge. I mean, this is like, you know, he'd take me to some of his clients. They would have these huge mainframe computers. And he would type all kinds of things onto punch cards, codes, and push some buttons, and after you put them into the card reader, and what would happen? Boom, a giant printer would start crunching and crunching and crunching. And when it was all done, there would be this huge printout with a picture of Snoopy and the Red Baron, just for me, showing off the power of computer technology. But, you know, we really have come a long way. Even though we've been obsessed with shrinking things, making them smaller and smaller and smaller, today we're at a point where everything is basically invisible. And most of what I deal with takes place in the cloud or comes over the internet. And a lot of my personal practice is now working with companies, helping them overcome the threat of cyber terrorism, and specifically ransomware. One of my proudest accomplishments is my $1 million ransomware guarantee. As far as I know, we're the only company in the entire world that protects their customers against extortion by hackers and ransomware. I'm able to do this because it's backed by Lloyd's of London. That's right. The world-famous insurance company wrote a special custom program and policy for anyone I work with, protecting them up to $1 million against extortion by ransomware. Well, you know, I must be good if Lloyd's of London is standing behind my policy. Well, of course, I never expect to have to pay it out because the service itself is just that good. But, you know, it's amazing to me how far we've come, all the way from slide rules, magnetic tapes, pictures of Snoopy and the Red Baron printed out on giant green ledger paper, being able to get anything done anywhere in the cloud, all the way to $1 million ransomware guarantees. It's an amazing world, and it's been an amazing ride over the past 50 years, and I'm very appreciative to have had that experience and to have this opportunity today to share this story here at 77 WABC Radio on the greatest show of all time.
Yeah, it's always great to have you here in studio. And you know what else was really great was going into the cyber vault, you know. And I'm really excited. I have one of those interviews, and we're gonna we're going to hit it right now and go deep into the cyber vault to close out this show. So, Greg, thanks so much for being the man and the smartest guy I know when it comes to IT.
Oh, man, you got it, Glue.